Alert: Mueller makes corrupt move to take down Trump. Special counsel Robert Mueller and his team are becoming desperate to obtain evidence that proves the Russia and Trump collusion allegations. So far they have turned up absolutely nothing. According to Newsmax, Mueller may be turning to a source for evidence that is rife with corruption and suspicion, and who could taint his entire investigation. They've interviewed the former British spy, Christopher Steele, who wrote the infamous and factually inaccurate Dirt dossier. The dossier, also known as the Golden Shower dossier, is documentation compiled by Steele that supposedly proves Trump's collusion with Russia, as reported by Newsweek. It contains evidence of supposed meetings between the Russian government and Trump's team, and a startling claim that Russia has blackmail material on Trump, specifically that he allegedly hired a prostitute to urinate on a bed in a hotel room in Moscow, the same one President Obama and his wife once slept in. Trump vehemently condemned and denied the information in the dossier, calling it made-up stuff. Many news sources at the time were hesitant to report on the dossier considering many of the claims had not been verified. Senate Intelligence Committee Chairman Richard Burr, R. North Carolina, said the dossier shouldn't be taken seriously until verified. The committee cannot really decide the credibility of the dossier without understanding things like, who paid for it? Who are your sources and sub-sources? The New York Post reports that many of the sources are anonymous or referred to by Steele as a friend of friend. Even Obama's officials couldn't corroborate the sourcing when investigations into the dossier first began. What is known should make anyone wary of reading the dossier, let alone trusting the information contained within. Steele was hired by a company, known as Fusion GPS, to compile proof that Trump was colluding with Russia, reportedly paying $50,000 for the subsequent dossier. Fusion GPS has a sordid history of working with the left to obtain dirt on their opponents. In 2012, Fusion GPS was contracted by Democrats to find dirt on then presidential candidate Mitt Romney. Later in 2015, they were hired by Planned Parenthood as part of a smear campaign against pro-life activists opposing them. In this case, Fusion GPS's co-founder and partner, Peter R. Fritsch, is one of Hillary Clinton's allies and donors. In fact, in June 2016, many of Clinton's allies provided funds for Fusion GPS, months before the dossier would be released. Mueller interviewed former British spy, Christopher "Sleazy" Steele, who wrote the infamous and factually inaccurate Dirt dossier. Is this the best witness they have? The dossier passed through many hands in Washington, D.C., with the FBI, CIA, and other intelligence agencies seriously looking into the claims, even showing it to then-President Obama. Yet at this time none of the agencies confirmed the validity of the dossier. This controversial and likely uncorroborated dossier has been considered the roadmap that Mueller was using in his investigation, according to a lawyer familiar with Mueller's probe. Media sources and Democrats have now used the central claim of the dossier, that Trump colluded with Russia, to fuel their false narrative. Whether Mueller is using the Golden Shower dossier to guide his investigation or is simply following up on any and all leads has yet to be clarified by Mueller and his team. Hopefully, his interview with Steele was to dismiss the validity of the document, and not to try and find a way to use it as evidence when the investigation is resolved.